Welcome everyone to Trip's art class. Man, I want to say it is cold outside. It is freezing. It would be nice if we could go outside and build a snowman. But wait a minute, there's no snow. So I guess we will have to draw a snowman instead. So grab your pencil, grab your pen, and grab your colored pencils as we draw along with me a snowman. For our snowman, we're going to go ahead and begin using some very basic two-dimensional shapes. The first two-dimensional shape that we're going to use is just a circle. Don't worry too much about drawing your circle. We're going to keep it simple. Snow is not perfect, so your circle doesn't have to be either. Make sure you are sketching your circle though. We're not just making dark lines like that. We're sketching it. I really want you all to be practicing your sketching skills. Okay, after we draw that first circle, we're going to draw a larger circle. This one is not going to be a perfect circle. It's going to be a little bit more like an oval. But you can kind of think of it as more of a triangular oval. A little bit heavier on the bottom and thinner on the top. Keep your line super loose. And okay. Now the next thing we're going to draw is a horizontal line that's going to be slightly tilted. And we can do it slightly curved. See the slight curve I'm adding? So we're in the sketching phase here. Do not be stressed. This should be very relaxing. If you're stressed right now, you're doing something wrong. So stop being stressed. Drawing is like cheap therapy. It should be relaxing. It should be helpful to you mentally, not a stressor. Because if you make a mistake, you can just fix it. Okay, next we're going to kind of put a W. Well, not a W, just a single U. Put a single U here, and then we'll pull it down. Pull this one down as well. Okay. From there, we're going to move on and just put a slightly curved horizontal line right there. So remember, anytime during this video, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause it, or you can even adjust it to go slower. Okay, the next step is we're going to give our snowman the classic carrot nose. And next step is we'll give him a scarf. I'm saying him, it could be, you could have a female snowman. You can do whatever snowman you want, really. It's your snowman. You're building it. And go like that. It'll make it come out a little bit more here. You can go to that eraser. I don't want you to rely on it too much, but just when things get kind of too messy, where it's confusing, that's when you might want to bring out your eraser. But besides for that, don't mess with your eraser too much, okay? It'll just take up time and be a distraction. Okay, next step is we're going to go ahead and put some little curved lines here. And we'll do the same thing right here. And let's go ahead and continue with adding detail to the scarf. So for the scarf, I want you to pull this line down like that, and pull this line down like that. And now it kind of gives it the effect that it's wrapped around. And right here, we'll pull this up just a little bit, have it go down here, and then we'll kind of connect it right there. Okay. And then right here, we'll kind of pull a little curved line. Pull this line up here, and then we'll have it go down. Cool. I'm liking it. I'm liking our snowman. So from there, we're going to have the little stick arms kind of come up. Like that. I mean, if you want to, you can even have another stick coming out there. Do the same thing here. I mean, these are sticks, so they're not going to be perfect. And then we're going to have his little buttons. Put a little circle inside the circle, and then we'll just put little dots so they look like buttons. From there, we need to draw the eyes. Eyes are pretty simple circles. And we'll give them a smile. There we go. I'm not liking that. Let's see. Maybe more like that. Like that. There we go. I'm still not liking that. So, it's okay to be picky with your artwork. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in some detail for the carrot. We're putting these little lines so it looks more like a carrot. And then I'm going to add in some lines here. Now when you're sketching like this, it's always good to start off using like a sketching pencil, maybe something like a, if you're using professional drawing pencils, like an H pencil. If you're using, if you don't have one of those, maybe just use a mechanical pencil. That way they stay sharp. Now I'm going to kind of add some snow here to our snowman, whatever name you decide to call it, Frosty, or I don't really know any other snowmans. There's a snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I forget his name. And there's a snowman from Elf. I forget his name too. We'll just kind of put some melted, or like a pile of snow. Okay, we can clean it up later. Now go ahead and erase this line. There we go. Okay, so let me go ahead and center it now. Right there. Get a little bit bigger, so everyone can see it clearly. Now, this is the fun part. We did the hard part. We figured everything out. Now is the fun part. So what you want to do is take your eraser. This is really great if you have a kneaded eraser. Actually, there's one more thing I saw that I want to add. Maybe we can add some little phrase here. Okay. And we can always go back and add more stuff too later. So take your kneaded eraser and go ahead and lightly erase so all your lines are lighter. I can do that since I'm using Procreate on the iPad Pro. I can do that just by changing the opacity. You're going to have to do that by taking your eraser and slightly rubbing it over your artwork so the lines get very, very thin. Okay, just like that. We'll make a new layer here. And I'm going to go to my favorite inking pen. This is a custom brush that I made that I really enjoy. Now you have your favorite inking pen as well, so whatever it is, go ahead and get that out. So I'm going to make sure it's the right size here. Make sure you have the right size pen. You might want to practice on a piece of scratch paper to make sure you have the right pen. Now, something to remember, line with variety here. Have some thick lines and thin lines. Okay, see how this line goes thick to thin to thick to thin and gets thick again? Now that's something we really practiced before in this class on Inktober. Spent a lot of time, I don't really like that line. We spent a lot of time really paying attention to the inking process. Okay, now I kind of made a mistake here. It's thin here and thick here. I kind of want the opposite. I want it to be thick here, and this line I want to be thinner. I want to have a little bit more curve. So I'm going to keep on adjusting that. There we go. Make sure you have your sketchbook turned so you can get the best lines possible. So see how I'm turning my sketchbook? Okay, you should be turning your sketchbook as well. Make sure you're at a desk or a table where there's plenty of room so you can really turn that sketchbook. I'm really adjusting my line work. Now you can do this too if you have a white gel pen. Gel pens are great if you want to make little corrections. And you can get them at like pretty much anywhere. You can get them at Walmart or Hobby Lobby or Michael's. A lot of times students think that you can only get art supplies at like a nice art supply store, but that's really not true. Art supplies these days are really very ubiquitous. They're pretty much everywhere. Now I'm going to add a little bit of overlap here. Just make things a little bit more believable. Okay? Overlapping is just a very simple way to make artwork more believable, because in real life, things overlap. Now you don't want to make the mistake of having all your lines be exactly the same width. That's a really easy way to spot a beginning artist, is if all their lines are all thick or all their lines are all thin. And don't depend on rulers or guides. I always have some students ask if they can use like a bottle cap to help draw a circle. You know, I mean, you technically could, but you don't want to do that to yourself. Okay, just learn it. Get better at drawing circles. You're never going to get good at it if you never do it. It's kind of like tracing. Yeah, technically you could trace a lot of artwork, but you're not going to really improve if you're just tracing everything your entire life. It's like math. I mean, yeah, you could get the right answer by copying someone else's homework, but you're not going to learn how to do it on your own. And in art, I mean, why would you copy something? If you're going to copy something, you might as well just buy someone else's artwork. For this class, we want to give you the skills to be able to make your own artwork so that you're the creator, you're the artist. And that way, when you have something to say, you can say it in your own visual language. So art is a language in a way. It's a way to communicate. Not all art, but some art. When you do illustrations, you're telling a story, you're saying something. Even when you do a doodle, you're still being expressive to a certain degree. Okay, so there I'm going to kind of step back and look at the drawing. There's a few things I can still add here, maybe some line work. The branches. And so I'm going to step back and look at it again. And yeah, I think that pretty much works. I'm going to throw in a few more little lines here. Maybe a line here. I can go a little bit thicker. Maybe a line there. Maybe a line there. Okay. And here comes the fun parts. Coloring the snowman. I can get rid of this layer now, we don't need it. And looking at this now, I kind of want to make this eye a little bit bigger. Okay. Now coloring the snowman, there's a few things we can do here. We're gonna start simple, okay? And we're going to get a brown. So go ahead and find your color pencils and find a light brown color. And I'm going to do it quickly here. It's going to take you a little bit longer. Go ahead and color it in. Then after that, do a yellow. Of course, it's going to take you a lot longer because you're coloring it in with color pencils. Coloring for some people is very, very relaxing, but when you color, make sure you are not scribbling. Sometimes I have students that are tempted to scribble when they color. I give this snowman blue eyes. I don't know why. Oops. Want to do that. And maybe some gray buttons. The inside area, I'm just going to make them a darker gray. Okay, so we have that. Now, what we're going to practice next is a technique called cell shading. That's C-E-L-L, shading. And it's a neat technique, and what we do is we divide sections up and we make one section a little bit darker. So I'm going to get a little bit darker brown here, and I'm going to kind of divide this section up here. Oops. My bad. Try that again. Now what you'll notice now, that part of the hat is a little bit darker. So this is called cell shading. You just make certain areas a little bit darker. I'm going to do the same thing now with the carrot nose. Go ahead and get that same color, the orange. We're going to go get a little bit darker orange, not much, just slightly. Then I'm going to color that area in so it's a little bit darker. Like that. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some highlights to the eyes. And then I'm going to get a very, very, very light gray and fill in the rest of the eye. Oops. Like that. The reason I can do that is because then I can take the white, kind of add in some more reflection. Okay. So the next step, what we're going to do is do some cell shading on the scarf. So go ahead and get a little bit of a darker blue, or just press a little bit harder. And find some sections here that you think should be a little bit darker. Like that. And then some of these we make darker, but not all of them. And other ones that'll be a little bit more underneath. Like that. Okay, now this is cell shading, C-E-L-L, but it's very simplified cell shading. So we're not doing anything super complicated. Just keeping it very simple. Like that. And actually, what I want to do, I'm just going to add a little bit more here. Oops, not like that. Try one more time. Nope. Anyway, I'm happy with that. We'll just do it the old-fashioned way. We just take a brush, color it in. Okay, and then I'm going to take this color. I kind of want this area to go a little bit lighter. There we go, make that part lighter. And let's have some fun here. Let's go with our white. And what we can do with a white is throw in just a little bit of highlight here. Throw in a little bit of pop of highlights. Nothing much. Do the same thing for the branches. Let's go ahead and before we add the highlights, let's go ahead and get the do a little bit of cell shading with that. So I'll just kind of make the bottom parts of it a bit darker, like that. Do the same thing with this one. Okay. And then I can go ahead and add in some highlights. Maybe I'll kind of put a highlight maybe right here. Maybe I'll put a little highlight right there. Maybe right here on the buttons, we'll just put a little bit of highlights. Highlights are something that people don't really even notice, but they kind of add to the artwork overall. Okay, now the snowman, you know, when we think about snow, a lot of times we just think snow is white. And in cartoons it sometimes is, but oftentimes snow has a certain hue to it, a very, very light hue. So I'm going to get something here. I'll get that color. It almost looks white, but it's not, and you'll see here why. Yeah, start over there. So I'm going to do this, and at first it might seem kind of weird. It's like, what is Trip doing? Let's add a little bit, add some shading here as well. Oops. Oops, my bad. Go like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then we'll add in some more here. And then maybe a little bit under the arm here. And should be maybe quite a bit here. So here we'll maybe come in here. Like that. See what that does? It really kind of makes the snow stand out a little bit more, so it's not just plain white. So you can do that by getting a lighter color pencil, but sketching very, 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 very lightly. The same thing here. And we'll do something here as well. Oops. And then we'll do something here as well. Okay, so I'm going to step back a little bit and look at our snowman. Maybe we can add a few little shadows here for the buttons to make them look like they actually stick out a little bit. Like that. And so as you can see, the light source would be coming from this angle right here. Okay. Maybe more like that. So it's always important to know where your light source is coming from. So that is our snowman for today, as we are doing our series called Walking in a Winter Wonderland. So thanks very much for hanging out at Trip's art class. I hope you enjoyed drawing and coloring in your snowman. Now, if you did not bring your color pencils, or you don't have your color pencils, you can do this assignment still, but instead of coloring it with color pencils, you can just add a full complete background to this using your pen. Okay, so you'll, instead of spending the time coloring it, you can just add a full background to it. If you're doing color pencil, just keep it as it is. Okay, so thanks so much for hanging out at Trip's art class. Share your snowman with your friends, share your snowman with your family. Okay, and I hope you guys are having a great time drawing. We'll catch you next time on Trip's art class.